Buster Douglas was the first man to defeat Mike Tyson. Among the countless upsets that happen in boxing every year, only a few are remembered for decades. The greatest upset of them all took place more than 30 years ago. On February 11, 1990, in Tokyo, James Buster Douglas shocked the world by knocking out Mike Tyson, a man who had seemed completely unstoppable and gave no opponent any chance. At the time, Tyson had an incredible record of 37 wins, 0 losses, with 33 victories coming by knockout. He was only 23 years old. However, after his divorce and ongoing legal troubles, he was in terrible physical and psychological condition. Meanwhile, Mike's opponent, James Buster Douglas, was ranked only 7th in the world at the time of the fight. Douglas entered the fight with a record of 29 wins, 1 draw, and 4 losses. 2 of those defeats had come against former opponents of Tyson, and another was against an unproven newcomer, making Douglas seem like the weakest challenger to Iron Mike's heavyweight title. The betting odds were an astonishing 40-1 in Tyson's favor. Confident that Douglas posed no real threat, Iron Mike barely prepared for the fight. One clear sign of his lack of preparation came during a sparring session with former world champion Greg Page, who surprisingly managed to knock Tyson down. Until that moment, Mike had never been knocked down, not in a professional fight, and not even during training. Douglas also faced his own struggles, but they weren't physical. His greatest battle was emotional. Just weeks before the fight, his mother passed away. Yet, as Douglas later recalled, "My mother's death only made me stronger. I couldn't allow myself to fall apart or lose focus. I never wanted to disappoint my mom." The champion looked unusually slow in this fight. He moved his head very little, rarely slipped punches, and instead of using his trademark quick, short combinations, he lunged forward with large, off-balance movements while trying to land single power shots on Douglas. Then, at the end of the 8th round, Tyson landed a devastating right uppercut to Douglas's jaw and sent him crashing to the canvas. Douglas remained down for several seconds. The referee did not begin the count immediately, and at the count of 7 he stopped, turned around, and then resumed counting. By the time he reached 10, Douglas was still on the floor. Despite everything, the referee allowed Douglas to continue the fight. By the 9th round, Tyson's exhaustion had become obvious. Then, midway through the 10th round, Douglas landed a crushing right uppercut to Tyson's jaw, followed by a devastating combination, a left cross, a right cross, and another powerful left cross. Tyson collapsed to the canvas, and his mouthpiece was knocked out. Although Mike got back to his feet almost immediately, the referee counted to 8 and stopped the fight after seeing that Tyson was unsteady on his legs. At the moment the fight was stopped, the judges had the bout scored as a draw. The fight was later named Fight of the Year by the Ring magazine and is still widely regarded as the greatest upset in boxing history. After the defeat, Tyson entered treatment for alcoholism. Immediately after the victory, while still standing in the ring, Douglas was asked, "How did you manage to win when no one gave you a single chance?" Holding back tears, the new champion simply replied, "This was for my mother," before breaking down in tears. In November 1996, Mike Tyson faced Evander Holyfield in one of the most anticipated fights in boxing history. Preparations for the bout had actually begun years earlier, before Tyson was sent to prison. At the time, Holyfield was a former undisputed world champion in 2 weight divisions, with an impressive record of 32 wins, 3 losses, no draws, and 23 victories by knockout. Tyson entered the fight as the overwhelming favorite, with bookmakers giving him 22-1 odds to win. The first 5 rounds were fiercely contested, with momentum shifting back and forth, although Tyson held a slight edge overall. In the 5th round, Iron Mike unleashed a series of brutal combinations on Holyfield, but Evander absorbed every punch without being seriously shaken. Then, in the 6th round, Holyfield accidentally clashed heads with Tyson, opening a cut above Mike's left eye. It was a turning point that would have a significant impact on the rest of the fight. Later in the 6th round, Holyfield landed a perfectly timed left hook to Tyson's body. The punch didn't land on the liver, so Tyson wasn't seriously hurt, he simply lost his balance and quickly got back to his feet at the count of 5. Then, with just 15 seconds remaining in the 7th round, Iron Mike charged forward in an attempt to overwhelm Holyfield. However, Evander came in headfirst during the exchange, and another hard clash of heads opened a cut beneath Tyson's right eye. By the end of the 10th round, Holyfield landed a powerful right cross to Tyson's jaw, staggering the former champion. Sensing the moment, Evander followed up with several more right hands. Tyson tried to tie him up in a clinch but couldn't. Holyfield then drove a perfectly timed right cross straight into Tyson's chin. The counter right cross sent Tyson stumbling backward into the ropes. Holyfield immediately unleashed a relentless barrage of punches, while the champion offered almost no response. Just then, the bell rang, bringing the round to an end. The Showtime commentators later remarked that the bell had saved Tyson. At the start of the 11th round, Holyfield came out aggressively, landing a sharp left jab, followed by another. He then connected with a powerful right cross to the head and immediately followed it with a left hook. The assault continued as Holyfield kept pouring on the pressure. Tyson retreated to the ropes, trying to evade the incoming punches, but Holyfield chased him down with precise shots to the head. Mike no longer fired back, he was focused solely on avoiding the punishment. Seeing that Tyson was no longer defending himself intelligently, the referee stepped in and stopped the fight. Tyson offered no protest. The bout was later named Fight of the Year by the Ring magazine. Tyson earned an incredible $30 million for the fight, while Holyfield took home $5 million. During the post-fight press conference, Tyson surprised everyone with his humility. Turning to Holyfield, he said, "I just want to shake your hand. We've waited a long time for this fight. Thank you very much. I have nothing but the utmost respect for you." He then added, "I believe Evander Holyfield is a better fighter than Buster Douglas. When I fought Douglas, I barely prepared at all. This time, I came into the ring in great shape." The highly anticipated rematch took place on June 28, 1997, in Las Vegas. Both Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield entered the ring calm and composed. It was the fans who were filled with anticipation, and they had every reason to be. What followed would become the most controversial fight of Tyson's entire career. Tyson opened the rematch just as he had the first fight by throwing a powerful right cross. This time, however, Holyfield slipped the punch with ease. Evander answered with a few quick jabs, but the first significant blow of the fight still came from Tyson. Although his left hook only grazed Holyfield, it landed cleanly enough to get his attention. Toward the end of the round, Holyfield launched a strong offensive of his own, doing enough to secure the opening round on the judges' scorecards. In the second round, Tyson continued pressing the action, but Holyfield defended brilliantly while finding even greater success with his own offense. Just over a minute into the round, Iron Mike suffered another cut. As Tyson threw a right cross, Holyfield, using a move he had already executed several times during the fight, ducked underneath the punch and stepped forward, leaving Tyson's glove high and behind him. As Holyfield slipped underneath the punch, Tyson's glove sailed over his shoulder, and at that very moment, Evander's head collided with Mike's eyebrow, opening another cut. The second round also went to Holyfield. Back in his corner, Tyson looked visibly frustrated and confused. Tyson came out aggressively in the third round, landing two hard left hooks to the body, followed by a left hook upstairs. Holyfield saw every punch coming and, at the very last moment, rolled with the shots, using subtle head and upper body movement to absorb as little damage as possible. Then, near the end of the round, during a clinch, Tyson shocked the world by biting a piece of Holyfield's right ear. Evander immediately jumped back in agony, and the referee stopped the action. The ringside doctor examined the champion and ruled that he was fit to continue the fight. Tyson was penalized 2 points for the bite. Once the fight resumed, however, he shocked everyone again by biting Holyfield's left ear. Between the third and fourth rounds, complete chaos erupted inside the arena. A massive brawl broke out as members of both camps rushed into the ring. Security guards and police officers quickly stepped in to restore order. Moments later, the referee officially disqualified Mike Tyson, handing Iron Mike the third defeat of his professional career. The next man to defeat Mike Tyson was Lennox Lewis, but their rivalry exploded long before they ever stepped into the ring. During the pre-fight press conference, Tyson suddenly lunged at Lewis, attempting to punch him. One of Lewis's bodyguards stepped in to restrain Tyson, but Mike struck him instead. Within seconds, the press conference descended into complete chaos. Both fighters ended up brawling on the floor as members of their teams joined the melee. The incident made headlines around the world, and when boxing's most respected publication, The Ring magazine, looked back on 2002, it named the infamous press conference the event of the year. Later that summer, boxing witnessed what was, at the time, the most lucrative fight in the sport's history. Two of the greatest heavyweight champions of their era finally met in the ring, bringing an end to the legendary rivalry between Tyson, Lewis, and Holyfield. After this era, the heavyweight division would soon be dominated by the Klitschko brothers. Lewis entered the bout as the clear favorite. However, no one could afford to underestimate Tyson's devastating knockout power. Although Iron Mike had lost much of his stamina and explosiveness due to his lifestyle outside the ring, everyone knew he still possessed the ability to end the fight with a single punch. As soon as the opening bell rang, it became obvious that Tyson's strategy was to come out aggressively and look for an early knockout. From the opening bell, Tyson charged forward relentlessly, trying to close the distance and get inside the British champion's long reach. Time and again, he lunged in, hoping to catch Lewis off guard with explosive bursts. Tyson did manage to land a few solid punches, but for the most part, Lewis handled the pressure brilliantly. Whenever Mike got close, Lennox either met him with sharp counters or leaned his weight on him in the clinch, draining what little energy Tyson had left. By the end of the second round, Mike was already beginning to slow down. In the third round, Tyson tried to raise the pace once again, but Lewis' long, accurate jab had become an increasingly difficult obstacle to overcome. From the fourth round onward, the British champion completely took control of the fight. Tyson's attacks had become predictable, relying on the same explosive rushes that no longer troubled Lewis. Meanwhile, Lennox systematically broke him down with crisp jabs and textbook 1-2 combinations, putting on a masterclass in heavyweight boxing. With each passing round, Tyson's output continued to decline. By the seventh, Lennox Lewis was picking apart the former undisputed heavyweight champion with combination after combination. For many of Tyson's longtime fans, it was a heartbreaking sight watching one of boxing's greatest icons slowly being overwhelmed. Mike's suffering finally came to an end in the eighth round. Midway through the round, Lewis floored him with a thunderous left uppercut. Then, in the final minute, the British champion landed a devastating short right hook flush on Tyson's jaw. Mike crashed heavily onto the canvas and, despite his determination, was unable to beat the referee's count. After the fight, Tyson spoke candidly to reporters, saying, "I'm just glad Lennox didn't kill me." For the victory, Lewis earned a guaranteed purse of $20 million, while Tyson received $17.5 million, not including his share of the pay-per-view revenue. Years later, reflecting on the significance of the bout, Lennox Lewis said, "I knew Tyson was the final opponent I needed to face to cement my legacy. I couldn't allow critics to say that I never fought Mike Tyson. As much as Mike and I love to go at each other during our careers, today I have nothing but love and respect for him. I'm proud of the way he's managed to turn his life around." Lewis shared those words on June 8, 2021. Following the defeat, Tyson returned to the ring in February 2003, where he scored an impressive victory over Clifford Etienne. His dominant performance was convincing enough that Lennox Lewis offered him a rematch. However, Tyson declined, explaining that he needed at least 2 more tune-up fights before considering another showdown with Lewis. In June 2004, Tyson announced that his next opponent would be the relatively unknown British heavyweight Danny Williams. Once again, Iron Mike entered the fight as the overwhelming favorite, with his chances of victory estimated at nearly 90%. From the opening round, Tyson looked sharp and was clearly in control, taking the early advantage as he pressured Williams with his trademark aggression. Tyson repeatedly rocked Williams with powerful hooks and uppercuts, leaving many convinced that the fight would be over in the second round with another trademark knockout victory for Iron Mike. But then, unexpectedly, Tyson began to slow down. The replay soon revealed the reason. Late in the opening round, he had suffered a serious knee injury. In the third round, the referee deducted 2 points from Williams for punching after the action had been stopped and for leading with his head. Despite the penalties, the tide of the fight continued to turn. In the fourth round, the British heavyweight unleashed a relentless combination that sent Tyson crashing to the canvas. Iron Mike was unable to beat the referee's count, suffering one of the most shocking defeats of his career. Without saying a single word, Tyson quietly left the ring. On June 11, 2005, Mike Tyson stepped into the ring for the final time, facing relatively unknown Irish heavyweight Kevin McBride. According to media reports, Tyson's return was driven primarily by severe financial problems. He was more than $40 million in debt and had calculated that he would need to fight several more times just to pay off what he owed. Tyson believed he would need to fight 7 more times to clear his debts. McBride, however, made excellent use of his height and reach advantage, keeping Mike at bay with a steady jab while leaning on him and tying him up whenever Tyson tried to close the distance. Despite that, Tyson controlled the opening 3 rounds. He extended his lead in the fourth with several effective attacks to both the head and body, but he couldn't build on that momentum. The sharpness and aggression that had once defined Iron Mike were no longer there. Fatigue began to set in, and by the 5th round, it was clear that the fight was slipping away from him. In the 5th round, Tyson found himself backed against the ropes after absorbing a solid punch from McBride, and the round clearly belonged to the Irishman. During the 6th, Tyson attempted to twist his opponent's right arm and was later deducted 2 points for charging in with his head held dangerously low, a clash that opened a cut on McBride's face. Toward the end of the round, McBride leaned heavily on Tyson, causing the exhausted former champion to collapse into the ropes. The referee ruled it a slip rather than a knockdown, but Mike looked completely drained. He struggled to get back to his feet and slowly made his way to his corner. Although Tyson was still ahead on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards after 6 rounds, he made the difficult decision not to continue. As a result, Kevin McBride was awarded the victory by technical knockout. Shortly afterward, Mike Tyson officially announced his retirement from professional boxing. After the fight, Tyson addressed his fans with heartfelt honesty. "I want to apologize to everyone who paid to watch me and wasted their time," he said. I think it's time for me to walk away. I don't see any reason to keep stepping into the ring. There's no point in fooling myself or disrespecting the sport that I've dedicated so many years of my life to." And with those words, the legendary professional career of Iron Mike Tyson came to an end, bringing the curtain down on one of the greatest, most explosive, and most unforgettable careers in boxing history.